Okay, welcome back, guys, to threat hunting on the wire. This time, we want to pick up where we left off with TShark. TShark is basically the command line version of WireShark. If you're in a situation where you're dealing with really large PCAPs, oftentimes it's going to be faster to parse them and rip through them at a command line than it is to actually open up a GUI and try to write filters. And I understand people don't like command line, but when you really get down to stuff, this is really where the rubber hits the road, right?
Never one to shrink from an honest challenge.
Get after it.
It's physics. If I lift it, I then rule Asgard.
Yes, of course.
I will be reinstituting Prima Nocta. Be right back.
For me, I really like to use command line filters for things. When I'm looking through stuff, I can get a feel of stuff a lot faster. I hate to keep phrasing it this way. I'm just faster at a command line than I am in most GUIs. A lot of people ask me, hey Joe, how is it that you can teach Splunk and you can teach Logarithm and you can teach all these different tools? And the simple truth is, just because I know how to do this stuff from the command line, and quite frankly, all these tools are running these commands I'm showing you. So these command line commands that I'm showing you, most of these commercial products are just web interfaces to Linux commands.
What? What the f?
We just got finished going through ChaosReader. Now, the filtering that I did with ChaosReader was to break the data up into individual streams so I could sort them by unique IP combinations and unique web URLs. Maybe you're with a customer and you just say, hey, proactively, let's record 5 minutes of traffic every hour on the hour for a day or for 2 days or for 3 days. And now you have this massive thing of Pcap files that you need to go through. And then you run prads, step 1, to get a feel of the types of servers that are out there, type of endpoints, what type of connections they are, host to host, host to web. Then you use ChaosReader to parse that data into individual streams, and let's look for unique host to host communication and where it's going. And now we can take TShark and we can try to figure out the same thing as ChaosReader, or we can write some more comprehensive filters. So let's start with doing the same thing as ChaosReader with TShark, and then we'll also do some trickier filters with TShark as well. TShark is basically a command line version of WireShark. That's really what it is. Let's get in here and let's dive into it. On my machine as a regular user, and what we want to do is let's go get some statistics. So I'm going to make a directory, I'm going to download the file, and then I'm going to do this protocol hierarchy statistics. That's what this PHS, protocol hierarchy statistics. So I'm running TShark. You have to specify your network interface. That's what this is. ENS3 is my network interface. And now you can see my protocol hierarchy statistics, what portion of my packets are Ethernet, what portion of them are IP, what portion of them are UDP, what portion of them are SMB, what portion of them are DNS. Like, you could start getting a feel of what's going on with the traffic broken up. What portion is ARP, what portion is HTTP. You can really get a good feel of what you're dealing with out there. And I think you'll find it pretty handy. We can break the data down like this, IP host, and now we can get all of the statistics for the IP traffic. And you'd be surprised how often you use this. So you can see what addresses are communicating, how many packets went out per address. So for each IP, how much traffic went out per IP address, and then the rate in milliseconds, and percentage of the traffic and how much of it was burst traffic. Like, you'd be surprised how often you actually want to know stuff like that. Knowing a little bit about the network traffic, is it somebody beaconing out to command and control, C2, Sometimes that's the way that you find that kind of stuff, because it might not be high volume traffic, but it might be burst traffic or large individual chunks of traffic at irregular intervals. That's how you start figuring that stuff out. And the next thing that you actually find yourself doing is looking through traffic specifically for user agents. So here I'm saying I just want to look through for individual HTTP traffic in the request. I want to know the source IP that's doing it, and I want the user agent, and I want you to unique them so that I know deduplicate them. I'm looking for outbound HTTP request. I want you to give me the source IP, and I want you to give me the user agent, and I want you to remove the duplicates. That's what this is doing here. Again, it's the kind of thing that you find yourself doing. You may want to look up by DNS query name, which host we're making what specific lookups, and then we can sort those down as well. We can also do lookups on what are the unique IPs and destinations, and then I can say I want to filter out certain types of traffic as well. So I want to filter out the Google traffic, I want to filter out the HoneyNet traffic, for example. And you can write rules to do that. It's surprisingly easy when you start saying, okay, I want column 1, I want this arrow with the direction in column 2, I want you to put a tab in there, I want you to put an HTTP in front of columns 3 and 4. That's what actually gives you what looks like a full-blown web URL. And then I want you to remove any of these cases where it's CSS files, cascading style sheets, icon files, remove cases where it's connecting to Google. For me, I start doing this a lot. You start filtering down to the traffic that you want to see. So these types of filters, you're going to find that they're more and more important each time you do these. For me, I like trying to say, okay, well, show me this user agent, show me everything that's connecting to this, but don't show me Google, don't show me Bing and MSN. And you just kind of keep whittling it down and whittling it down and whittling it down, because eventually you want to get to like, what's anomalous traffic? And you do that by continually whittling down. I mean, that's really how you do it. I like to write filters for stuff of interest. Anything that's out there that makes me go like, why is it doing that? I don't need to see the Google traffic, that looks legitimate, or I don't need to see traffic to MSN, but I keep seeing some persistent Twitter traffic.
Forbidden donut.
Yeah, here we go. So here's one that does it in Twitter. Stealthy Python-based backdoor that uses Twitter direct messages for its command and control server. You might have to write rules for stuff like that. You're going out to a network and you're looking around and you're looking around, and then as you see something, you go like, man, I want to see more of that. So these are the types of things that you would go like, oh, I really want to know more about that, and let me look for just this particular bit of data. Okay, so that's why we use things like this. Again, this stuff is kind of hard to write rules for. And remember, you probably wouldn't see a security event for something like this. This is the kind of thing that you'd have to proactively hunt for. These are the types of things that a skilled technician would look for, but you kind of don't know what you're looking for when you get started. So you have to be able to just kind of look through stuff and kind of whittle it down. And that's the reason why you write these types of filters. Then once you kind of come up with something suspicious, then you run it through something like Suricata or YaraPCAP. And again, this stuff may or may not fire with the next couple of tools that I'm going to show you. And the reason is because, well, you're probably running intrusion detection systems already and this stuff is not being detected. So remember, this is not incident response. You are proactively looking around the network. So you cannot depend on signatures, because if a signature would have caught it, then your defensive products would have already detected it. Again, you have to be able to look for stuff manually, and that's why I'm showing you this. So those are the steps, and I'll see you in the next video for Suricata. Happy hunting.
Zaj מצליח, Mr. Vic.